Hey y'all, I'm Ethan Pox and welcome to my quick guide on Necromancy Rituals. This video is going to be a little lengthy because there's a lot to talk about, so make sure you check the description if you're only looking for something specific. Before we begin, I just want to ask that if you find this video helpful and want to know when I post more RuneScape content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. It helps the channel grow and helps me to know what works and what doesn't work. If there's a guide you'd like to see, please comment down below. I'd love to hear your opinions and answer any questions I can. With that being said, let's jump in. While necromancy may be a combat skill, rituals are the non-combat portion of necromancy. Rituals are important for making all the materials you'll need in your necromancy journey, such as ensouled materials, impure essence, filling your will of souls with communion rituals, and ectoplasm. Let's talk about each of these a little more in depth. I'd like to begin this video by talking about each kind of ritual and breaking down the supplies you will use to perform them. I'm going to cover each type of ritual and each tier of the different types, so I can try to cover as much as possible with the least amount of confusion and make it easier to reference later. We will begin with the communion rituals. You'll perform a makeshift communion ritual during the tutorial to get you started. You'll not need any supplies for the makeshift ritual, as they'll be provided for you. Communion rituals serve to fill your well of souls. I'll be covering the well of souls in each tier and unlock in the future, so for now, just think of the well as a talent tree. Each level of the tree requires a certain amount of souls in the well. Souls in the well do not decrease or degrade, so you only need to perform the communion rituals up to a certain point. Once you reach the maximum amount of souls in the well, you'll not be required to perform these rituals, and doing so would be a waste of supplies, as there are other rituals that will have near infinite use as you continue your necromancy as a combat skill. The current highest tier requires 35,000 souls. This will take a bit of time, and you won't want to do this right from the start, as you'll unlock better rituals at level 60 and 90 respectively. With all that being said, let's take a closer look at communion rituals, starting with Lesser Communion Ritual. The ritual is available from level 5 and is the first ritual you will be performing in the necromancy skill. The makeshift communion ritual will not get you up to level 5, so you'll want to kill some ghost trolls in the cave to get you up a few levels before you return to the ritual site. While you can begin performing the ritual at level 5, I personally leveled quite a bit higher to gain access to the multiply glyph. I had access to Elder Overloads, so I'm not sure what level I stopped at, but with Elder Overloads, I was able to boost to level 30. Personally, I think this is a great goal as you unlock the multiply glyph, which I'll be going over just a little bit later. But for now, just know it saves you a ton of time and resources. The glyphs needed for Lesser Communion are 1 Elemental 1 and 2 Commune 1. This requires a total of 11 basic ink each time you need to repair all glyphs. Each tier 1 ritual also requires 4 candles of any level, so at least 4 basic candles will be required each time you need to repair. If you are level 30, or have the ability to boost your level with overloads or necromancy potions, you can make use of the multiply glyph here. You want to use as many multiply glyphs as possible in order to boost the amount of souls per ritual. This will help save on cost and time. Multiply 1 glyphs increase the output of rituals by 20%. Multiply glyphs do stack, so make sure you're using as many as you can if ink supply is not an issue. The cost to draw multiply glyphs can be a little daunting, but overall, they end up saving money, so spend a little and save yourself from doing more rituals. Multiply 1 requires 1 ectoplasm, 1 regular ghostly ink, and 1 basic ghostly ink per glyph. I'll talk about how to craft these later in the video. At level 60, you'll unlock the next level of communion ritual called Greater Communion. Greater Communion allows you to select from a different selection of bones and mementos and offers greater XP and souls per ritual over Lesser Communion. The glyphs needed for Greater Communion are 2 Elemental 2, 1 Commune 1, 2 Commune 2. This requires a total of A basic, 6 regular, and A greater ink for each repair, if all glyphs need repair at once. While the cost of making ink goes up, it is worth mentioning that the durability of glyphs also goes up with each tier, meaning you'll need to repair less. Each tier 2 ritual requires a total of 6 light sources of any tier, so you'll need at least 6 basic candles to perform this ritual. With boost at this level, you should be able to access Multiply 2, which requires 66 necromancy and offers double the output boost over Multiply 1 at 40% per glyph. Multiply 2 requires 1 ectoplasm, 2 regular inks, and 2 basic inks per glyph. This means that each multiplied 2 is roughly twice as expensive, but also has a higher durability, so you'll be repairing it less, making the cost about equal. At level 90, you'll unlock the highest tier communion ritual available, Powerful Communion. Powerful Communion allows you to select from a different selection of bones and mementos and offers greater XP and souls per ritual over Greater Communion. Powerful Communion requires 4 Elemental 3, 2 Commune 2, and 2 Commune 3 glyphs for each repair if all glyphs need repairing at once. This requires a total of 8 regular, 20 greater, and 8 powerful ghostly inks. Tier 3 rituals require all 10 candle spots to be filled with candles of any tier, so you'll need at least 10 basic candles to perform this ritual. At this level, you can boost to use Multiply 3 glyphs, which require 103 Necromancy, give 60% increased output from rituals, an additional 20% over Multiply 2. Multiply 3 requires 2 Ectoplasm, 2 powerful ghostly ink, and 2 greater ghostly ink per glyph. There are other alteration glyphs available that you may want to consider, but I recommend maxing out on multiplication glyphs as it will give the greatest assistance in needing less materials to perform communion rituals. And that covers the section on communion rituals. Next, I'll be covering Ensoul Material Rituals. These rituals will be mandatory to anyone wanting to train necromancy through combat. The focus object for Ensoul Rituals uses existing gear in the game, such as Subjugation and Spider Silk gear, to create new untradeable resources that will be used to upgrade your necromancy gear. These have 3 tiers which function the same as communion glyphs, so let's jump in and cover each one. Much like communion rituals, the lowest tier of Ensoul Material Ritual starts with Lesser Ensoul. Lesser Ensoul focuses on 3 types of components: lesser unensouled bars, spider silk gear, and regular thread. These are the focus objects for Lesser Ensoul rituals. These objects are converted into lesser ensouled bars, lesser ensouled cloth, and lesser ensouled threads. These are the materials you will need to make your necromancy gear from tier 10 to tier 50. In total, you will need 14 lesser ensouled bars to upgrade both main and offhand to tier 50, 27 lesser ensouled cloth for 1 set of armor to tier 50, 52 if making both tank and power armor, 10 lesser ensouled thread for 1 set of armor to tier 50, 20 if making both tank and power armor. Lesser ensouled material requires 7 basic and 2 regular ink for each repair if all glyphs need to be repaired at once. This is a tier 1 ritual and requires 4 light sources of any tier. I recommend following the same type of alteration runes as communion rituals and maximizing material output by using as many multiply glyphs as allowed. At level 60, you will unlock the next Ensoul ritual, Ensoul Material. The focus object for this ritual are unensouled bars, mystic gear, currently only the blue variant works, and wools from player-owned farms, which are spring sheared, summer down, fall faced, and winter wooled wool. These will be converted into ensouled bars, ensouled cloth, and ensouled thread respectively. These materials will be used to upgrade gear from tiers 60 and 70. At tier 70 armor, players will need to decide which of the styles they want to upgrade to, power or tank. While tank armor offers a chance for enemies' attacks to miss, power armor has a chance to apply a debuff that will insta-kill monsters that drop below 30k HP or 20% of health, whichever of the two is lower. In total, you will need 14 ensouled bars, 19 ensouled cloth for 1 set, or 38 for both, 15 ensouled thread for 1 set, or 30 for both, 5 Hermotic plates, that's for power armor only, and obtained from Hermod the Spirit of War boss fight. Ensoul material requires 1 elemental 1, 2 elemental 2, 2 change 2 glyphs. This requires 7 basic, 9 regular, and 4 greater ghostly inks for each repair if all glyphs need to be repaired at once. This is a tier 2 ritual, so you'll need at least 6 light sources of any tier. The final tier of Ensoul material is Greater Ensoul, unlocked at level 80 Necromancy. This will use materials such as greater unensouled bars, subjugation gear, anything but the ward works, and Algarum thread. These will be converted to greater ensouled bars, greater ensouled cloth, and greater ensouled thread respectively. These materials will be used to upgrade armor to tier 80 and tier 90. It is worth noting that augmented gear will retain perks and will not need to be augmented again. In total, you will need 16 greater ensouled bars, 19 greater ensouled claws for one set, 38 for both, 15 greater ensouled thread for one set, or 30 for both, 25 harmonic plates, which is for the power armor only. Greater ensouled material requires 3 elemental 2 and 2 change 2 glyphs. This requires 6 basic, 11 regular, and 4 greater ghostly inks for each repair if all glyphs need repairing at once. This is a tier 3 ritual, so you'll require all 10 light sources to be full. And that covers the ensouled material rituals. Up next, I'll be talking about what seemed to be everyone's favorite ritual during the race to 200 mil XP, the Essence Ritual. Essence rituals convert pure essence into impure essence, which is then used to craft the new runes used in incantations for necromancy. I'll be covering 3 types briefly, as they don't do much more than convert the essence. It is worth mentioning that these were used because they have more disturbances than both communion and ensouled material, and therefore were giving better XP. As such, if you want to very quickly gain XP, you'll want to follow the directions for powerful essence, as it is not worth doing the lower tiers exclusively for XP. I would also like to mention that I'll be covering ritual disturbances a little later in the video, so I won't talk about them too much here. The first tier of Essence Ritual is Lesser Essence, available at level 24. This converts 200 Essence into 40 Impure Essence. Lesser Essence requires 2 Elemental 1 and 2 Change 1 glyphs. This requires 8 basic and 4 regular ghostly ink for each repair if all glyphs need repairing at once. As this is a tier 1 ritual, 4 light sources of any tier are required. The next tier of Essence Rituals is Greater Essence, available at level 80 Necromancy. Greater Essence converts 400 Pure Essence into 100 Impure Essence. Greater Essence requires 2 Elemental 2 and 3 Change 2 glyphs. This requires 4 basic, 9 regular, and 6 greater ghostly ink for each repair if all glyphs need repairing at once. This is a tier 2 ritual and will need 6 light sources of any tier. The final tier of Essence Rituals is Powerful Essence, available at level 95. Powerful Essence converts 800 Pure Essence into 300 Impure Essence. Powerful Essence requires 4 Elemental 3, 2 Change 2, 2 Change 3 glyphs. This requires 10 regular, 18 greater, and 4 powerful ghostly inks for each repair if all glyphs need repairing at once. As this is a tier 3 ritual, you will need 10 light sources of any tier. The best method for XP with this ritual is to place 3 attraction 3 glyphs, 1 multiply 3 glyph, and if you have the Necromancy cape, speed 2 in your cape. This will allow you to get the best method for XP from ritual disturbances, as it will allow for the maximum number of disturbances to spawn. If doing this, your method you'll want to have a large supply of regular, greater, and powerful inks and candles in your inventory for longer trips and less XP waste. This is somewhat costly, but can offer up to 2 mil per hour at higher levels, more if spamming the Darkness incantation for a very high GP per hour cost. And that concludes the section on Essence Rituals. The last of the 4 ritual types I'll be talking about in detail is the Necroplasm Ritual. Necroplasm rituals convert the previous tier of necroplasm up to a higher tier in order to use them to create ghostly inks. If you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that the price of ashes has gone up to around 10k. That's because of necroplasm. 20 necroplasm, ashes, and a vial of water are used to create each of the ghostly inks. Higher tier necroplasm creates higher tiered ink. Let's take a look at the first of 3 tiers, Lesser Necroplasm, which is unlocked at level 5 Necromancy. Lesser Necroplasm converts 200 weak necroplasm into 100 lesser necroplasm, which can then be either upgraded further or used to make regular ink. Lesser Necroplasm requires 1 elemental 1 and 2 reagent 1 glyphs. This requires a total of 7 basic ghostly ink for each time that you need to repair all glyphs. As this is a tier 1 ritual, a total of 4 candles of any tier is required. It can be useful to use multiplication glyphs to get a larger amount of necroplasm output to make more ink or use in higher rituals. The next tier of necroplasm rituals is Greater Necroplasm, which is unlocked at level 60 Necromancy. Greater Necroplasm converts 200 lesser necroplasm into 100 greater necroplasm, which can then be used to make greater ghostly ink. Greater Necroplasm requires 1 elemental 1 2 elemental 2, 2 reagent 2 glyphs. This requires 13 basic and 10 regular inks for each time that you need to repair all glyphs. As this is a tier 2 ritual, a total of 6 candles of any tier is required. The final tier of Necroplasm Rituals is Powerful Necroplasm, which is unlocked at level 90. Powerful Necroplasm converts 200 Greater Necroplasm into 100 Powerful Necroplasm, which can then be used to make powerful ink. Powerful Necroplasm requires 2 elemental 2, 4 elemental 3, and 2 reagent 3 glyphs. This requires 4 basic, 20 regular, and 16 greater ghostly inks for each time that you need to repair all glyphs. As this is a tier 3 ritual, 10 light sources of any tier are required. And that covers all of the Necroplasm rituals and finishes up our section on rituals. Please note, there are other rituals, which are quest rituals. I will not be covering those in this tutorial, as I will be making guides on each of the quests within their own.